Again, we're looking up VC Street. Here's Tower 7, still remaining. So we know what day this is. Tower 1 is gone. There's nothing at street level. Where are those outer columns? Anybody find them? Maybe they're hiding under that, somebody's hat there. It was this intersection looking down this street. Holes. Heard about the holes. Cylindrical cutouts. See, this isn't one hole. This is a whole bunch of small diameter cylindrical cutouts that coalesced. And looking at using the wheat checks as a scale, looking at the diameter, it's about 24 feet in diameter consistently.
The cutout?
Yeah. The diameter, like this hole, that hole. There's some different sizes, but this is the most common size.
So there's a hole there, but the material is gone, the outer walls will remain.
Of this building. It's like if you were standing at the street level, you wouldn't realize that over half of the... Yeah, that 50% of the building's mass is gone. It looks like it's all still there.
The mass is literally not dropped down in the bottom where it's pancaked down, but it's gone.
It's just gone. Building 6. Yeah, it's empty, which is bizarre. And this is inside that hole. And this is an 8-story building. So if you count down from the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you can see we're right at the first floor. You can account for all 8 floors.
They're sheared.
Pardon me?
They're sheared vertically.
Correct, but there's no material left. It's like something just made them disappear in that zone. Let's look at Building 5 over in the far corner. It has, my goodness, 24-foot diameter holes. Here's a slightly larger hole, and folks would wonder what that corner is sticking out. Turns out it's a flipped piece. If you flipped it back, you'd find the cylindrical cutout below it. And there's some other odds and ends around, like this hole here, which has a smaller hole within it. My favorite, Building 4. Building 4's perimeter used to be here. This is where Tower 2 stood. And Building 4, the main body of it, butted up against Tower 2. But we only have that northern wing left. It was like it was surgically removed. It was cut off. There's a little stub of the main body there, but that's about it. And if we looking from this direction, like looking up that way, we're looking west, this is what we'd see. Right afterwards is when this picture was taken. It's just sliced off. And nothing left. Whoops. Didn't come on top, but there's my favorite hole in the street here. But if you start noticing, you start seeing right below the surface pieces of trash, you have cylindrical cutouts all through ground zero. So this is my favorite because the outer wall, that's the southern wall of Tower 2. It leans out into the street a little bit, and notice where it's missing material, right above where that circular cutout is in the middle of Liberty Street. And that hole is empty. Now I call this here hole 2. This is hole 1, hole 2, hole 3. Here they are climbing down into hole 2. All of those cylindrical cutouts sort of coalesced into a large underground open area. This was taken on the 18th of September. There was wet puddles down there these guys are walking through. This is the basement of Tower 2. There's no molten metal in that basement.
What level of the basement?
Pardon me?
What level of the basement?
The bottom. You could count down the levels in there. And they're walking on horizontal territory there, not anything, sloped and broken up. And like the folks walking around the PATH train station, the loading platform, just wet from all the fire hoses. They're not burning up down there, so it's not real hot. But you don't look for survivors by excavating, because you would damage the people if you're trying to save some bodies. So why is this area open? They didn't excavate it. There's no material there. It just disappeared. Again, this is that zone with a few loose pieces of steel on top of it. Once you remove those, you have the open area. Now we're going to look at hole 1. There, you see some wheat checks that took a dive into the hole. Now what is this piece of beam here? Why is it rusty like that? It looks kind of like Swiss cheese. Some other odd-looking things, but you can count down to the sub-basements. Look at all the, it is empty. So what made that hole? Here, they're going to rescue Roadrunner. They're down in the mall in the first sub-basement, the first level. Right above this roof, up here, is where the tower supposedly fell. But there's no building 4 above there. This is below the main body of building 4. Ah, the toasted cars. Now, my definition of toasted is, it's toast. It's history. It doesn't necessarily mean it's burned. It's just, it's ill-defined. It's just a generic term for, beyond hope. And there's where Tower 1 was. Tower 2. And there's the toasted car lot. They're parked over in here, where they're burning, and this is all paper in between. How did the cars burn up? You can see all paper in between, and the cars just spontaneously combust. Mystery. There it is, just paper and powder. After they got the fires out, those cars stayed there for quite a while, but they instantly rusted. Within a day, bright orange rust. There were some cars on FDR Drive, and folks say, oh, they're towed there. Well, okay, you can say that they're towed there. There's some interesting marks on the pavement that appear that they piled up on FDR Drive, or the road under FDR Drive, actually. But a comment I'd like to make about the towed question is there were 1,400 toasted cars. If someone is going to say that they were damaged next to the World Trade Center and then towed elsewhere, you got to find a place next to the World Trade Center where you can park 1,400 cars. VC Street, how many cars can you fit there?
Somebody would have noticed the being towed.
Correct. So, West Street, we saw pictures from West Street, and there's maybe 1 or 2 cars there, and Liberty Street, a couple of cars there, Church Street. The only street I don't have a thorough sight of what was there is VC Street, under where that overhead walkway garden area was. But how many cars can you fit there? 5, 10, 15? Certainly not 1,400 cars. But not only that, even if this one was towed, what did that to it? It looks like the door wilted. And the most hilarious thing, whatever ate it likes door handles. It gets door handles first and engine blocks. And I don't know how well you can see this, but it's even got the steel belting left, just not the rubber. The rear tire looks just fine. Nice new wax job in the back end, looks fine. So how hot could that car have been without affecting the entire car? The recent California fires, a friend sent me some pictures of some vehicles that were burned up. None of them were rusted. Now, if we have steel, how is it affected by fire? See something going drip, drip, drip? What ate that? Something attacked